it's Lizzie. So something that I hear a lot of people say, to the extent that it is cliche and annoying, is how will you know if you're sexually compatible with someone if you don't have sex before marriage? I think people who say this have never tried to have a non-sexual relationship. Because if they did, it would be obvious.
Now we've got a place to call this modern love was always gonna fade away. This modern love.
When you are dating someone and in a relationship, unless you do not ever touch each other, no kissing, no hugging, no cuddling, if you have any physical relationship with someone, then you know how sexually compatible you are. First though, before I thoroughly refute this objection to saving sex for marriage, this question is so problematic. It's viewing another person as a means to an end to your pleasure. It feels objectifying. It is objectifying. In a relationship and in sex, it is primarily about focusing on the other person, making them happy, focusing on their needs, and being completely other-focused. So creating this question of, what if I end up with someone who does not perform the best in having sex with me? You do not understand the purpose of sex or love or of marriage and relationships. You have it completely twisted. So back to the central part of the video, why you don't have to have sex to know if you are sexually compatible. We're going to get really personal and detail-oriented. If you're new here, this is a great introduction to my channel. So I'm bipolar. Part of bipolar is being hypersexual a lot. By hypersexual, I just mean really high sex drive. Hyper prefix, that's all it means. Wanting to be really physical with someone you're attracted to, and if you're pure manic, with anyone. Everyone with bipolar isn't exactly like me, but the way mine manifests is that I'm hypomanic almost all the time, which hypo prefix means less than mania, so a chill form of being super manic. So I am not wanting to be sexual all the time with anyone. Not what I'm saying. I'm a virgin. But I am hypersexual a lot of the time. Also, my love language is physical touch. So I'm very intense, hugging, cuddling, making out all the time if I'm in a committed relationship. Important caveat. It's obvious without me having a sexual relationship with someone what my sex drive would be. It's not this mysterious guessing game. If some guy was dating me for 4 years and then married me, it wouldn't be like, oh, whoa, now I see it. She is hypersexual a lot. I think her love language is physical touch. She's intense with that. But I didn't know until we could have sex with each other. I never could have guessed she has a high sex drive. He would have realized this early in the relationship, in the non-sexual relationship. Like I said, some fundamentalist Christians never kiss, touch, hug, anything. Maybe I'm being not charitable. I think fundamentalist Christians probably hug each other, maybe chill cuddling, but no kissing. I don't know, I just know I could not do that. I need physical touch. But for these more conservative fundamentalist Christians, it is a lot of a guessing game. It's a mystery knowing if they're sexually compatible. For most Christians, for most people saving themselves for marriage, it's just not. And I would even argue that connecting with someone intensely on an emotional, spiritual, intellectual level will make you more passionate, more compatible sexually. I think that they're all interconnected. It's not these completely separate things. So even if you weren't allowed to touch each other, which again does not apply to 99% of Christians who are staying abstinent until marriage, you would still kind of know because all physical attraction is sexual attraction. So as a female, my initial attraction to a guy is based on evolutionary pheromones. I've talked about pheromones in so many videos. It is this undercover scent receptor, and when you feel butterflies attracted to a guy, it's because your genetics are separate enough, so your body is just telling you that you could make healthy babies with this person. That's basic what makes a woman feel attracted to a man. And that is indicating sexual chemistry, sexual compatibility. So this sexual compatibility argument against staying abstinent before marriage marriage is such a cop-out. No logic. Most modern abstinent relationships have enough physical components to them that it is beyond obvious. You can be certain of your sexual compatibility. And this next part proves my point even more. I've been in a relationship before with someone I was not sexually compatible with. I was physically attracted to him. We clicked spiritually and intellectually, knew each other so well. It was an amazing relationship. But I realized at the time that physically we didn't connect as well. We were physical with each other, but I could still tell at the time, not even comparing him to someone else or looking back at the relationship, but at the time, vivid memories of realizing we were spiritually, intellectually so compatible, but not physically or even fully emotionally. We did have a lot of chemistry and I felt so strongly towards him, but without having sex, I knew me and this guy not sexually compatible. Like I said, making out, having your body against on someone when you're just hugging them. If you feel so drawn, intense passion, you know you would be super sexual chemistry. And you know 100% by being in a relationship with someone, if you have a matching sex drive, if you guys ever make out with each other. Making out is so sexual. So you know. And if you're curious about bipolar when it comes to hypersexuality, because it's super bizarre, I know, it's not just I'm hypersexual towards anyone, because I take my meds, I don't go full-blown manic. The relationship I mentioned where we were not sexually compatible, I was hypomanic 90% of the time. Completely off meds, didn't even know I was bipolar. And yet, I was not that intense physical. That only gets drawn out of me by someone I'm sexually compatible with. And people who aren't bipolar, who don't get hypersexual, the same thing happens. Where suddenly you want to be all intense physical with this person, instinct takes over because you have sexual chemistry. I feel like finding someone with a matching sex drive is really important for a marriage. It's not necessary. Sex is not the most important thing for a long-lasting relationship, but that would be healthier emotionally. And sex drive is a huge part of what sexual compatibility even means. You can blatantly tell sex drive in a non-sexual relationship by who initiates what, how often, how much creativity, spontaneity, how adventurous you're being. You can tell. For some people, being physical isn't all that important, and sex won't be that important. Then for people like me with physical touch love language, physical is primarily how I show and receive love and feel wanted and make someone I'm with feel wanted and cared for. A lot of Christians struggle to maintain sexual boundaries if they haven't already caved in their thinking. I have Christians who think like me about saving sex for marriage, but we still have these conversations where people say they struggle so much to not have sex with whoever they're with because they know them so deeply and love them and just feel like they need to express that. They have to fight hard against that temptation. Like I said, I've had a non-sexually compatible relationship and it was so easy, no struggle, not any thoughts of going too far. If it's that easy, if you have zero thoughts ever throughout the course of your relationship to want to have sex, you're not sexually compatible. Maybe not emotionally compatible at all as well. Because if you fully love someone, we were created to give ourselves all the way to someone we love. Sex is the most natural thing ingrained into us as a way to show and receive love. If you are sexually compatible with the person you're dating, then you should want to have sex with them. That desire is not sinful, it's innate. It was a desire created in us by God. If you're a Christian and holding to traditional Christian sexual ethics, then you don't actually want to have sex with them if you're not married. That wouldn't be loving if you don't know 100% that you are ending up with this person. But that implicit desire is there if you are sexually compatible. And you should not feel guilty if you have that desire. Only if you ruminate and act on it. I hope this video made you think differently. I figured out, without having sex, how to know if I'm sexually compatible with someone. If you aren't sure if you are, you're probably not. But again, like I discussed at the very beginning, sex is not about getting something out of someone, experiencing pleasure, but caring about the needs of the other person. Being selfless, focusing on them. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!